Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on TV. We got a jam-packed show today, man. Every team except the New York Giants are on the road this week. Eagles head to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Cowboys are headed to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, who had a big win last week. Houston welcomes the Commanders in a matchup versus the Texans for the Commanders there. And the Giants will host the Detroit Lions at MetLife, man. This is going to be definitely a jam-packed show. We're going to try to fly through this as best as we can. But without further ado, man, let me bring in the best co-host in the country, the strong side to my left side. Y'all know what it is, man. The man, the myth, the legend as well. The Beard, man. What's poppin', brother? How you living?
Hey, listen, man. I'm just doing what I can to multitask. But when I say multitask, that means keep my sanity and pay my bills at the same time. So that's pretty much.
It's a tough time of the year right now, man. So I just want to send, some positive vibes to everybody out there. We about to be dealing with the two biggest holidays of the year, man. Hope y'all eat good. We got the Giants on Thanksgiving this year. That's going to be amazing. But let's not look past them Detroit Lions. But definitely wanted to send some good vibes to y'all, man. Especially for the entrepreneurs out there, man. This is a very trying time of the year, man. And y'all both know me and the Beard both work for ourselves, man. So it's definitely going to be a trying winter. Winter is coming, as they would say in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's here. It is here.
Yeah,
it was
facts.
it was brisk today in D.C. actually also,
Yep.
man. It was sometimes I could just look out the window and I'm like, oh, yeah, it looks cold out there.
Yeah, let me stay my ass in the crib. I saw that Hefe put up a new video. And if y'all not familiar with Hefe, he does like a bunch of like Giants parody videos that kind of clown what's going on in the fan base and whatnot, a bunch of different perspectives. And he talked about how cold it was when he was doing his latest video out there. He had so they have a character on that show. It's Chefe. And he wears the Giants apron while he's cooking on the grill and whatnot with no shirt underneath it. So I know he was freezing while he was making that video. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Hefe, man. They do a fantastic job over there with NY Revival. They just had Ransom on the show. I took a little peek in, too.
You know it's crazy. You talk about the cold in New York, and at first I was like, why are they moving a game for snow? Like, when has that ever happened? I guess I had misread it and realized they were talking like 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, it was
supposed to be something serious. All right, I guess that makes some sense. 3 feet of snow.
I'm extremely boosted about that because I'm playing you in fantasy this week in a must-win spot. And I got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. We already know 3 feet of snow. They would have probably been running that ball the whole damn game. So that gives me a better shot at taking you down in fantasy one time.
And you're definitely favored to win for sure.
Yeah, just by a little bit, man. Just to throw a little parlay vibe out there, man. I want to give y'all a little quick nugget before we get to Sunday. Because I scooped somebody up off the waiver wire today, man, who I think is a smash player right now that might be able to make some waves here. Wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. I was not familiar with this dude, but he put up 28 points last week. Yeah, Westbrook. He's got two last names, right? What's homie's name? Nick. Is it Nick? Yeah, Nick Westbrook-Akeem. Yeah. Go scoop that man up. He was available in our league. He put up 28.9 points this past week, man. So if you're struggling at wide receiver like I am, outside of Stephon Diggs, man, that's a move for you right there.
Yes, it's going to be an interesting game tonight. We're going to talk about that game and all the other games. First of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching us right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. We appreciate all the love and all the support. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up while you guys are here.
I feel like we're losing platforms. Like, I remember when we first started the show, I feel like it was like 20 platforms. Like, shout out to all y'all checking us out on LinkedIn, Pinterest. I just felt like it was like that. And now it's like we got about 2-3 platforms right now. But I kind of like it that way, man. I think next season, the whole Facebook vibe, I might just completely end that whole vibe. We're gonna
force their hands. You guys have to come to YouTube. Watch us on the tubes. We appreciate all the love and all the support. Let's go ahead and say some big shout outs to the people in the chat, and then we will get to rocking and rolling. You already know. Shout out Coach Taylor. I'm rewatching 2 classic TV shows right now. The Wire and Friday Night Lights.
Oh, yeah.
I just kind of been going back and forth.
I don't know about a classic, but it's a good one.
It's really good, man. It's really good. Like, it kind of hits you. Sometimes I fast forward just to the football scenes, but, it's Coach Taylor, man. He does a great job in that, so shout out to Coach Taylor.
I saw Coach Taylor today in William Steele's stream earlier this morning. I got up a little early, got to catch that stream. They was clowning in that stream earlier, man. They was having a real grand old time.
Wait, which Coach Taylor are we talking about? Coach Taylor
J-Mo? There's only one Coach Taylor, brother. I mean, come on. There's only one coach.
Big shout out to Anthony, the Bluegrass Picker. Appreciate you as always, brother. Thank you for joining us. My man Chris Peace, always holding us down in the world of Twitter. Appreciate all the retweets, my man. Peace, man. Thank you very much for joining us. Jay Jean says, damn, y'all quick with it. Oh, listen, J-Mo is here like before this. He's already telling me in the last stream that he's going to be first in this stream before this stream is even up. So
that's facts, yo.
Big shout out to Lax04 with the can't wait for the show to start, fellas. I am pumped this week. I think a lot of us are pretty pumped this week.
Yeah,
we're pretty pumped. It's his. I told Awthentik, I texted him. I said I was doing like the numbers for the show. I was like, this is crazy. You guys are literally trying to get to 8-2 right now. This is like I would.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
I feel like you guys, some people in the Giants community, you guys need to step up your enthusiasm. You're literally 7-2.
I know.
Like,
that's
my
facts,
goodness gracious. Big
God's
shout
gracious,
out,
man.
Yeah, to Yam in Japan.
Big shout
Appreciate
out to
you stopping by, Yam, as always. And shout out, I love seeing this. Y'all really are adapting the RTDB.
I would not even just the family in the chat. I'm seeing this kind of going all around, like content creator world, the national media. I was in Ref the District's chat last night. They were talking about it. As soon as I pulled up, they were like RTDB. And Stoner had a couple of words. He said that our New York Giants are frauds, man. He said we are frauds. Specifically went after Daniel Jones, too. I think he was getting a little hype because I was in the chat. I think he was a little hype.
Big shout out, Michael Knight. Big shout out. There it is. Simon Coleman in the building. Appreciate you stopping by. The Beige Boy, HTTC,
yes,
representing
sir.
the Commanders in the building. And big shout out to ENA. We got time for the $4.99 super chat. Says, what's going on, fellas? On this lovely Thursday, predicting Giants win. We finally score over 30 points, and Kenny Galladay gets a touchdown.
Man, I'm sick of hearing that, man. I'm sick of it. It seemed like every week Kenny Galladay get out there on the field. It's like, this is going to be the week, man. This is going to be the week. I'm just going to wait on it. If it ever happens, I'm going to just wait on it. But when we get to that game, I got some great nuggets on all of that, I bought 2 boxes of 20-piece nuggets today for that New York Giants game. So definitely stay tuned for that. And also don't forget about the trivia. We're going to be giving away that signed Jeremy Shockey card to a Giants fan. And we got some backup gifts for y'all backup fans, y'all backup Commanders fans, Eagles fans, and Cowboys fans, because y'all know what it is, man. The Giants run Awthentik and The Beard. That hat is slowly but surely morphing into blue. I can see it. I can see it, bro.
Far, far from it, my friend. Hey, we are international. Shout out to our international videos. I know we got people in Chile, Australia, Japan, England, and of course, big shout outs to Tuto
in the building. What's going on, fam?
$4.99 super chat says massive salute to Awthentik and Beards, and for all Giants fans around the world, slap all stinky Boyd's losers out of front door hard
now
and
listen,
fast.
I'm Tuto put a shirt on.
Oh,
He's got a shirt on.
I was wondering what you were looking at. I was like, did I misread something?
He's killing the ladies, man. He had to put on a shirt. Them abs is just cracking.
YouTube called and said, hey, look, man, we're going to need you to put away that 12-pack, okay?
It's a family-oriented show, man.
F all Detroit's losers. Salute.
I like the way Tuto spelled Detroit's right there. That's kind of tight right there. Detroit's. I'm digging that. My man Tuto's in the building, man. Salute, brother. Salute.
And big shout out to everybody. We see you all in the chat right now. I even see Texas Boy in the chat.
Texas Boy
Fabian's
is in the building.
chat.
Oh, that's what's up.
We appreciate all the love and all the support, but we got a jam-packed show today.
We do, man. We definitely got to get moving. We're going to see if, we're up against the clock, man. The shot clock is on. We're trying to make things happen here. We're going to see how it goes. That was a good, nice little condensed intro. I like that. What was the word I was using at the beginning of the year? It was very concise. Timothy. I like that. Very concise, brother. But let's get in, man, and talk about this first matchup, man. We're going to jump into this Eagles at Colts game one time. All right, man. The Eagles, man, coming off that major loss to the Beard's Commanders one time, man. Their first loss of the season. They're going to be headed to Lucas Oil Stadium to face the Indianapolis Colts. Shout out to Pat McAfee and the whole gang over there. I know they're hype about this one. Last week, we talked about this. The Eagles lost to the Commanders 32-21. The Colts, surprisingly, with new coach Jeff Saturday winning his first game against the Las Vegas Raiders 25-20 last week, man. I'm about to put in my application, man. Jeff Saturday out here winning games. I mean, I think I could do a little something, you know what I'm saying? Eagles are coming off a 4-turnover loss to the Commanders, man. I think that was a lot of the reason why that game wasn't as close as it should have been. Last week's loss, man, I'm going to get right to it. That was not on Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts played a pretty decent game against the Commanders. He was 17-26 for 175 yards, 3 total touchdowns, and 1 interception on the day. Hurts has completed 67.9% of his passes. The touchdown to interception ratio, just 2 weeks ago, they were like, he has the same touchdowns as Daniel Jones, man. Jalen Hurts isn't an MVP candidate. Well, right now, he's been running that scoreboard up. 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. That ain't including no running touchdowns or nothing like that. That's all through the air. Hurts has had multiple passing touchdowns in 4 straight games. Last year, that's all I was asking from Daniel Jones. Put together back-to-back games where you can throw more than 1 touchdown. Jalen Hurts has done that in 4 straight games. I know this year, that Giants offense isn't really calling for Daniel Jones to throw the ball too much, but he is coming off of 2 touchdowns last week. But Jalen Hurts, man, he's thrown for less than 2 touchdowns in just 4 games all year long, man. But I think for the Eagles, it's super, super, super important. They got to get back to their identity, man. Their identity is running the rock. Passing should be secondary. You should have Jalen Hurts throwing the ball around when it's only necessary, okay? Eagles had 4 rushing attempts in the first half last week against the Commanders. They got to find a way to clean that up. Just 20 rushing attempts for 96 yards. Last week, the Eagles had 18 first downs. I thought this was the number one stat that we didn't talk about last in the recap of Week 10. But they had 18 first downs on 47 total plays. That's a first down every 2.5 snaps. That should win you the game. But the Commanders did a great job of keeping Jalen Hurts on the sidelines. They dominated time of possession. Philadelphia's going to have to try to find a way to sustain drives. I think another key point we got to look at here is they got to find a way to clean up the penalties, man. 7 penalties for 75 yards. That's not going to get it done. But for me, and I'm trying to fly through this as fast as I possibly can, the Eagles' defense is going to be the X factor in this game. They're coming off a pretty rough game against the Commanders. They just signed Ndamukong Suh because they have Jordan Davis has been on the IR for a while here. They also signed ex-New York Giants D-tackle Linval Joseph as well. So they're looking to stack up over there. Now, these are a couple nuggets I wanted to run through about the Eagles and their defense. The Eagles have not allowed 20 or more points in 6 of their 9 games. They have 2 games where their opponents didn't even score double digits. So let's not let that last game blur what the Philadelphia Eagles defense has been doing this entire year. They're ranked first in the NFL right now with 13 interceptions. They're also they're top 10 in the league as far as forced fumbles go as well. They got 7 on the year. The Colts have thrown 10 interceptions this season. That's tied for second worst already. Matt Ryan's going to be back at quarterback again this week for them. I'd look for this Eagles defense to just really step up and dominate this game. I won't give you a score prediction just yet. I'll let you get off, a little bit of your, I won't call this a roadmap. We'll just say which GPS route we going to take in this Philadelphia Eagles matchup against the Colts.
Listen, I will tell you one thing right now. Like that whole fairy tale story, Jeff Saturday last week with the win and everything. It's fantastic. Great. I love a good story like that. You know that. If the Philadelphia Eagles lose to the Indianapolis Colts this week, there's going to be some really angry people out there. And so just first things first. Philadelphia better not lose this game because then I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to start tossing that fraud word around, which is absolutely unnecessary. So I generally expect the Philadelphia Eagles to get back on track in this game. I thought the signing for Ndamukong Suh was fantastic. Like I think, what's wrong with getting a guy like that off of the streets? And, it's not like he's a wide receiver or a quarterback or running back where he has to learn a lot of playbooks. Right. He's basically just going to get up there and let's just clog some holes, buddy. Okay.
Pretty much. So I'm surprised he was a free agent. I forgot about him. I totally forgot about him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of guys like that out there. Like Will Fuller. Isn't Will Fuller still a free agent?
Still out there.
Like wide receiver position? So it's kind of interesting. But, yeah, look, I think he'll eventually find a way to help them. And listen, like you said, they're stacking up. They've already made a couple additions previous to this, too. So I think they're going to get back on track. What surprised me the most about this matchup is the Colts defense. Colts defense is surprisingly really good. They are 4th overall defense in the National Football League. They're 10th against the run. They're 7th against the pass, and they're 11th in scoring defense. So I did not see that. Like, that's something that generally when a defense is like that good, you can kind of like see it in the record and it's talked about. But to hear those sort of statistics about the Indianapolis Colts defense kind of threw me off. So the Eagles better not take this Colts defense lightly. Obviously, they're going to be without, Shaq Leonard, formerly known as Darius. So, and Kwity Paye is kind of questionable right now, I believe, leading up into this game. So that's something they got to definitely pay attention to. Philadelphia's third down offense, though, is fantastic. Even though they only had like 8 third downs, I think it was against Washington.
Yeah, against y'all, 5 for 8, I believe it was.
5 for 8, something like that. Yeah. So they're 4th in the National Football League in third down percentage conversion rate. They're converting on 47% of their third downs. The Colts defense, though, is 4th best in the National Football League at third down defense. 33.6% of the time they allow conversions on third down. So that defense on third down is really good.
That's going very against surprising.
So you got the 3rd best third down defense going against the 4th best third down offense. So that third down is going to be
third down offense.
Yeah, I bet you will, especially when it's Philadelphia. Obviously, the Colts on third down offense, not so good. 24th, they're only converting 37.3% of their third downs. So they're going to have to find a way to convert third downs. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor last week looked like the Jonathan Taylor. I think he's finally healthy again from that ankle injury. Last week, 22 carries, 147 yards and a touchdown. That's a really nice yard per
of all the
carry.
running backs that are like in the top 5, the names that you consistently see up there, the Nick Chubbs, the Derrick Henrys, now the Saquon Barkleys and the running backs like that. Jonathan Taylor has like the most like straightforward style. Like, like the agility is not that impressive from him, but he just seems to just get vertical and get the yards, man. So it's good to see him getting back. I mean, he is coming off of one of the best seasons by a running back, period, from last year, man. So it is good to see him get back. And I would totally like to see Jeff Saturday and that Colts team take the Eagles out. I mean, I doubt it, but I would love to see that.
Would, yeah. I think we all would here at Awthentik and The Beard. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was, you talked about the Colts turn the ball over and the Philadelphia Eagles, how many turnovers they've produced. I mean, we talk about their turnover differential multiple times this season already, but the Colts have the 4th worst turnover percentage in the National Football League. Okay, so they turn the ball over on 15.8% of their drives. So 15.8% of their drives end on a turnover.
That's horrible.
So they definitely are going to have to protect the ball against this Philadelphia Eagles team. And I'll go ahead and give you my prediction. I'm going to take
before you give a score.
Oh, Two
Toes in the building.
With a $9.99 super chat says, massive salute to our English brother, Dominic Palmer.
Facts.
And to the chat, we hope he'll show up to our match against his homies in England.
Called you out, Dominic.
In February and witness how we destroy him again. Big shout out to Tuto, and good luck as your season continues on in the world of rugby. Don't forget, you guys can watch Tuto on Sky Sports, I believe he said it was
job.
called.
Yep, Sky Sports, yep.
Shout out to Sky Sports. We need a sponsorship for Tuto and for Awthentik and The Beard. Thanks.
Facts. Plug that deal for me, Tuto. Plug that for me. Shout out to Tuto one time in the building, man. And Dominic's in the building as well. Shout out to Dominic.
We got to do a play-by-play of rugby one.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I don't know a thing about rugby.
That's why it would be so good. Well,
shout out the Wolves in the building. Wolves said, "Authentic, I'm a better rapper than you." Salute, man. Salute. That's a high bar I'm setting right there too, brother.
I want to take the Colts in an upset. I can't in my right mind. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game, get back on track, win by a final score of 31-17.
That 30. What is it about that 31? I was literally about to say 31 too. I'm gonna stick with it. We haven't hit on a number like that in the same week, so I'm gonna go 31-10. Philadelphia Eagles. I think they'll handle business, man. They got to get back to the drawing board. They seemed like they were on such a high the week before that. All the post game conferences with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, a lot of smiles, and then you go into or Washington comes up to you last week and you lose that game, and it's right back down to earth. Now I think they kind of needed that to kind of look in the mirror, see where you really are at. But, I'm taking the Eagles. You're taking the Eagles, man. That's what's up. All right, let's get into this next matchup, man. We're going to talk about the Cowboys headed over to Minnesota and the Minneapolis Raps one time to take on Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. All right, y'all. The 6-3 Dallas Cowboys are headed to Minnesota to take on the 8-1 Vikings. I don't know if that's more surprising than the Giants right now, man. 8-1 is really ridiculous, man. Their one loss coming to the Philadelphia Eagles. Last meeting between these teams, the Cowboys beat the Vikings 20-16. That was in 2021. I believe that was with a backup quarterback. They held Justin Jefferson to just 2 receptions in that game. And last week, the Cowboys took that L to the Packers 31-28 in overtime. A lot of people question Mike McCarthy's decision to not kick the field goal there and go for it on 4th and 3. The Vikings beat the Bills in a major upset last week, also in overtime. That one was 33-30. Man, the end of that game was just extremely ridiculous, man. Week 10 was one of the craziest weeks in the NFL. The Vikings have won 7 straight games, all by 1 score, bro. That's really ridiculous, man.
That's what makes it kind of like, are they 8-1, like 8-1 Super Bowl, or are they 8-1 first round playoff? Like,
I'm gonna go with the latter on that one for now. For now, this is a big spot for them right here, man, going up against the Cowboys. Vikings are definitely going to need an early start in this game, man. The Cowboys are coming off their first loss when leading by 14 in the 4th quarter. It's been 196 games since the Cowboys have lost a game where they were leading by 2 scores in the 4th quarter. The Vikings have scored 42 points on their opening drives this season. That's the most in the NFL right now, man. Cowboys defense definitely got to show up in this game, but I like what I've been seeing from their offense, especially with Tony Pollard, man. He has shined in Ezekiel Elliott's absence. First time ever Zeke Elliott has missed back-to-back games due to an injury in his career. I thought that's a stat that not enough people are talking about from a running back who is relatively healthy at all times, man. But Pollard definitely has stepped up. He's had back-to-back 100-yard games for the first time in his career. Also 3 games with 100 yards or more from scrimmage. But the Cowboys' run defense, I don't think they're going to have a problem running the rock in this game, but they're going to have a problem probably stopping the run. Cowboys have allowed 200-plus rushing yards in back-to-back games. They allowed 207 to the Packers last week, and the week before that, they allowed 240 yards on the ground to the Chicago Bears. Cowboys haven't given up 3 consecutive games of 200 yards on the ground or more in forever, as what the Beard said to me earlier. 1960, man. It was their first year in the league as an expansion team. They went 0-11-1 that year. I don't even know how they got a tie that. That's kind of crazy to get a tie way back when, especially with the sudden death rules and whatnot. It's been a few bad weeks, man. So Cowboys are allowing 188 rushing yards on the ground in their last 3 games. That's not good. They got to find a way to plug up these holes and stop the run one time. And look, it's not going to get no easier. These are the running backs that the Cowboys are about to face. They got Dalvin Cook coming up this week. The following week, they got Saquon Barkley. The following week, they got Jonathan Taylor. Following week, they got Damian Pierce. Following week, Travis Etienne. Then they got to take on Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and then finish the year off with Derrick Henry. That's not looking too good right now. We're going to see what they can do against the run.
Don't forget to sprinkle a little Washington Commanders in there, too. I feel like you left those guys out.
I didn't look at y'all as a perennial rushing team. You know what I'm saying? Y'all did run the rock. What was it, 49 times last week for 150 yards? Ooh, that's a – I give you a little light version of it. I didn't give you the whole – right? Just a little in the background right there. But if the Cowboys can stop Dalvin Cook, the Vikings have the best wide receiver in the whole damn game. And I told the Beard I need to go on a little Justin Jefferson rant here. I got a good Yeah, 1, 2. I got a 10-piece nugget for you right here about Justin Jefferson one time, okay? Last week versus the Bills, Justin Jefferson, 10 receptions for 193 yards and a touchdown. It was career high in yards for him with that 189. He has at least 100 yards receiving in 5 of his last 6 games. The one game that he didn't have 100 yards, he had 98 yards. So the dude's really been on a tear. That's 100. That's 100, okay? I know we like to say over here, almost is only horseshoes and hand grenades, according to the Beard. But we're going to give him that 100. So he's pretty much had 6 straight games with 100 yards or more. In his last 6 games, he's catching 72.5% of his targets. Before last week, he went 6 straight games without a touchdown. That's the only stat where I'm like, where the touchdowns at, Justin? He ain't getting too many touchdowns, but I guess Adam Thielen's been, reaping benefit from Justin Jefferson not getting the touchdowns one time. But Jefferson also has over 145 yards in pretty much half his games. 4 out of 9 games, he has over 145 yards receiving. He has the most 100 or more yard games in his first 3 seasons in NFL history. He just breached that last week. Odell Beckham had that record. Shout out to OBJ one time. Odell Beckham had 19 games of 100 yards or more in his first 3 seasons. Justin Jefferson just got to 20, and there's still a lot more football to be played here. You still got just about half a season left here. Justin Jefferson needs 88 more yards, which he'll probably get against the Cowboys, to pass Randy Moss for the most career receiving yards in NFL history over a player's first 3 seasons. That's the 8th nugget right there. Justin Jefferson is on pace for 2,002 receiving yards, which would break the single-season record set by Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson has the most receiving yards in a season with 1,964. That came in 16 games in 2012. Justin Jefferson is going to have that extra game this year to be able to try to breach that. And I'm going to end this with a little quote that the co-host said on Colin Cowherd's show this morning. I forget the dude's name. He's a little short dude. He's from the Caribbean. I forget his name. But he said the best way to stop Justin Jefferson is to get to Kirk Cousins. That's exactly what the Cowboys defense is going to have to do in this game. They're going to have to try to find a way to get to Kirk Cousins. Now, last week, Micah Parsons, he had a pretty tough day, man. 0 pressures versus the Packers. I think that's the first time he's ever had 0 pressures in a game. But Micah Parsons, he has been, I heard this from William Steele this morning. He's been forced to play off the line of scrimmage because they have an injury to one of their linebackers, Anthony Barr. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. So Micah Parsons has been limited on his snaps, just, going right after the quarterback, pinning his ears back and whatnot. But the Cowboys defense, man, they are, they're having trouble stopping the run. We know that. But that defense relies on takeaways. And right now, they're 7th in the NFL in takeaways. So for me, if the Cowboys want to have a chance in this game before I pass it off to you, they got to find a way to get Kirk Cousins to turn this ball over in this game. Kirk Cousins been playing some great football. We know about this kind of mistake-free football with the New York Giants, and for the most part this year, Kirk Cousins has been playing mistake-free football. But that's, for me, if the Cowboys want a chance to win this game, they are definitely going to have to pin their ears back and get after Kirk Cousins, and it's going to start by stopping that run. Dalvin Cook is no slouch.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins has 8 interceptions this year. I'm not sure what his number is on fumbles. But you can definitely, he's not as easily, frazzled in the pocket, I think, as he used to be. I feel like he's gotten a little bit more comfortable under pressure over these last couple of seasons. I mean, you talked about the Dallas run defense, and I didn't realize how bad it actually was. I mean, I knew the last couple of games were pretty bad, but they've fallen all the way to the 4th worst rush defense in the league. So I'm expecting, Dalvin Cook to have a big game. And the thing is about Dalvin Cook is he's sneaky out the backfield. He can catch the ball at the backfield. So sometimes, those are the type of running plays that, the Vikings use to get Dalvin Cook going, are some of those short passes out of the backfield. But obviously we talked about Justin Jefferson. The guy that we didn't talk about yet, who has been an absolute smashing success since becoming the Minnesota Hockenson. What is it, 16? I think I have it down here somewhere. 16 catches in his first 2 games.
Balling.
Like that's a guy that can change the game, because now those linebackers, they're forcing these linebackers to kind of keep an eye out on Hockenson. And Hockenson's the type of guy that not only he's not really going to just line up on the line like a regular tight end. He's a guy that's going to line up in the slot.
Yeah.
Is creating these sort of matchup problems. And when you have that ability to create matchup problems with your tight end, it opens the door for guys like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. So I think it's going to be really important for Minnesota to get creative, because no matter what the stats are, we know that this Dallas defense can. Going to be important for Minnesota to really mix things up. I was actually shocked at the line of this game.
Yeah,
Dallas
you said the
Cowboys
are favored, right?
Favored by 1.1 or 1.5. I can't remember what it was last time I checked. But
That's
Dallas
really
is favored in this game
with the Vikings at home. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so Dallas is favored in this game, which is going to be interesting. Obviously, I saw James Funk asking about Tony Pollard now that Zeke's back. Should he play Pollard or should he play Christian Watson in fantasy? That's going to be Cooper Rush is undefeated against the Vikings.
Like that.
Just saying.
That's facts. That's facts.
But yeah, so Zeke is back. I would still play Pollard because even when Zeke was healthy, Pollard was still getting touches. And I would imagine that Pollard will still get the majority of the touches in this game.
So is Zeke supposed to line up in this game? I didn't see anything that said he was guaranteed playing. He is, though?
As far as I have heard, he is on track to be playing
That's what's
in
up.
this game. Yeah. And then so that's where I'm at overall with this game. I think it's just going to be very interesting to see what Minnesota decides to do offensively because they have at times gotten away from the run game really fast.
Oh yeah,
and I think
that's with that core over there, I could understand it. Like imagine if you're playing with the Minnesota Vikings on Madden. I'm probably going. I mean, I throw it every down anyway, but I'm really going to throw it every down if I'm using the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, it seems like their offense should be a little bit more high powered. I mean, I know Hawkinson's only been there for 2 weeks, but Dalvin Cook, speaking of the run, he is coming off of 2 100-yard games within his last 3 games. So
yeah, he's one of my fantasy. He's one of my fantasy running backs. So I always got my eye on Mr. Cook. And then the last thing I'll touch on too is talking about quarterbacks and talking about Cooper Rush and Kirk Cousins and interceptions. I got to bring up Dak. Dak's got 4 picks through 4 games this season. So
that last pick though, man, the one in this past
game,
with
the CeeDee Lamb with the safety situation,
yeah, that wasn't.
So it's just something to keep your eye out on. Because I still don't think we've seen a Dak is back sort of game. We saw it against the Lions a little bit, but it was against the Lions defense.
Yeah,
I think
so.
Game
back.
I think it was
the second game back. He looked all right. Very efficient. I think it was like 17-24 or something like that.
This could be an opportunity, because this is going to be an afternoon game. This is going to be a game that, there's only 2 other games going on at the same time. So it's not like a primetime game, but it is like a big game. It's probably one of Fox's, what do they call them, America's game or something, whatever it is.
Game of the week or whatever.
Yeah. So, this could be an opportunity for Dak to kind of, put his foot back in the ground and show, because I'm still waiting to see that Dak from the beginning of the year before he got hurt. Like that was like prime Dak within the last, 2 seasons or whatever.
Oh, you think so? I mean, man, look, when I think about Dak Prescott, I think about the opening Thursday night football game for 2021 against the Buccaneers. They didn't win that game. He went crazy though.
Yeah, he did. That was a crazy game. That was a crazy game.
I thought he was playing bad before he got hurt this year. He had some good
games. I'm talking about before that one. But not this injury, the last injury, the really bad foot injury. Remember when Dallas was off? When Dallas was off to they were averaging 50 points a game and Dak was going crazy. Yeah,
he was going crazy.
That was when that offense was just humming. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he can still do that, obviously. But we'll see when that gets unleashed. It's also been hard without Amari Cooper, but this game's tough. It's you could see this game going either way.
Yeah, you really could. This is 2 good teams. These are two top 5 teams in the NFC, if you ask me. I know a lot of people sleeping on the Dallas Cowboys. These are 2 top 5 teams here, and the Cowboys have the defense to be able to, the coverage on the back end is going to be important for me. Guys like Diggs got to have big games. You got to find a way to limit Justin Jefferson and then sneaky Adam Thielen. Sneaky. You cannot let him get into the end zone. And then you got Hawkinson. There's a lot of moving parts on this Vikings offense that you're going to have to stop.
I think it's going to be close. I'm going to take the Vikings 27-24.
We've come to this point. I have to pick one, huh?
You do. I thought about picking a tie like season 1 Beard, but
I'll pick a tie, right? I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys, man. I'm going to go Cowboys win this one 29-21.
Interesting. James Funk says Dallas 31-28 in overtime.
And a back-to-back overtime game, huh? For both of these teams. Nah, that can't happen. That could not happen. It cannot be OT, James Funk, for real. We'll see, man. We'll see. That's gonna be. I'm gonna definitely have my eyes on that game, like in a more like serious way. I usually kind of just casually watch the Cowboys games, kind of keep it in the background on another a window or tab and whatnot. But I'm gonna really keep my eyes on that game, man, because important game for both of these teams. This is like a little bit of a playoff preview right here, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
All right, man. So we're gonna go to your Commanders next, right?
We are left hand up.
I hate you. All right, man, let's talk about these Washington Commanders. Starting to make that name have a little ring to it, man. You know, and shout out to the graphics department one time, man. The Texans are going to be taking on the Commanders. Commanders headed to Houston. This is a Sunday, 1 p.m. matchup. Commanders are now sitting at 500, man, 5-5. The Texans still only got one win on the season, but don't let that, mistake you that this team is straight up garbage. A lot of people just look at the record, right? They take that Bill Parcells quote a little bit too far and just look at the record and they think you're just going to walk over a team. I told people that the Giants were going to have a little bit of trouble with the Texans, and the Texans kind of, stuck around in that game until those two late turnovers in the fourth quarter really put them out of it. Commanders beat the Eagles last week 32-21 in Philadelphia. Talked about the Texans losing to the Giants 24-16. That was a road game. The Commanders are playing a second consecutive on-the-road game for the first time this season and the only time this season. I thought that was kind of interesting. The schedule gods have definitely blessed us this year. Commanders are 3-1 with Taylor Heinicke in the lineup after replacing Carson Wentz with the hand injury. Heinicke has 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 4 starts. He's got an interception in every start, man. So, you can expect one of those a game pretty much from Taylor Heinicke. One time. Terry McLaurin's coming off a season-high 128 receiving yards last week versus the Eagles. And McLaurin has 3 100-yard receiving games this season, but we all know what the deal is over here, man. This is Awthentik and The Beard. This is AATB. We're going to definitely run the damn ball. And I'm looking over here at my sound effects because The Beard, I think he wanted this one right here. He wanted the... One of the little choo-choo vibes one time.
RTDB, baby.
RTDB. Last week now, I think it's a little bit smoke and mirrors for the Commanders one time. I talked about this a little earlier. 49 rushing attempts last week, but they only had 152 yards on the ground. I want 200 on the ground this week if you're going to run the ball 49 times. And we know the Texans are definitely going to be relying on their rookie running back, Dameon Pierce, man. He has 5 games of over 90 yards on the ground this season, has gone over 20 carries in 4 of his last 7 games. He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry on the year, but Pierce has not scored a touchdown in 4 straight games. So I'd look for them to really utilize him when they do get down there in the red zone, or if they do get down there in the red zone. Texans definitely been struggling. 94 yards on 17 attempts last week versus the Giants, 5.5 yards per carry. His fumble in the fourth quarter, though, was a backbreaker for the Houston Texans, man. I know a lot of people didn't talk about that. He definitely took all ownership of the fumble, kind of blamed the loss on himself. He said this game came down to turnovers in the red zone. 1 for me, 1 later in the game. It's unacceptable. I've got to play better football. And his coach came to his defense and was like, yeah, he could pretty much accept that the way that Dameon Pierce has been playing football. That's Lovie Smith, I believe, over there. And Lovie Smith, Ron Rivera was actually on the coaching staff with Lovie Smith in Chicago, so they're going to be meeting up for the first time since then as well. Washington could possibly get back Chase Young in this game. I definitely think they could use the help, especially stopping the run, even though Chase Young's more known for his pass rushing skills and whatnot. But definitely going to be a theme in this game is going to be RTDB. Brian Robinson's coming off career best, 86 yards last week. He got his 2nd rushing touchdown on the season. And Antonio Gibson has had 50-plus yards from scrimmage in 4 of his past 5 games. I'd look for them to kind of even up the amount of carries, though. I want them to even that up a little bit. I'm kind of tired of seeing Brian Robinson get more carries. But what do you see, man, on the roadmap to victory for your Commanders one time?
Well, listen, there's obviously a lot of stuff going on right now. And, the news came out that Ron Rivera named Taylor Heinicke the starter against the Texans. Which
Okay, I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah, okay.
Because there are conflicting reports on this. Some of them are saying that Carson Wentz is still hurt. Some of them were saying he was named the starter. Have you seen anything where Ron Rivera came out and really said that?
So he's kind of, backdooring it, I guess. It's a smart move when we think about it. So basically, we're coming off the short week. So there's not really like a lot. There's only one day of real practice when you play on Monday and then you play again on Sunday.
Right.
So you only have one day of practice. So it made sense to let Carson Wentz have, if let's say, for example, like Carson Wentz was coming back no matter what, it would make sense to let him have this short week with the injury instead of, bringing him back with just like one day of practice on a short week. So he named Heinicke because I think what he had to do is because Wentz was eligible to come back. So I think, basically the announcement was just saying that Heinicke is going to stay the starter. I did see some really weird things where some people were saying that Rivera named Heinicke the starter for the rest of the season, which I personally did not see that exactly coming. So I think that would be a bad move to do that also because you want to have Carson Wentz. If you're going to stick with Heinicke, you want to have Carson Wentz available mentally if Heinicke, comes out and goes 9 for 21 with, 2 interceptions. We don't want to we don't want to have Carson Wentz checked out if that happens and we're in the middle of a playoff race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that it was a smart move though to go just to name Heinicke the starter for this game. It didn't make sense to force Wentz back in with one day of practice after missing 4 weeks. Like it just, rust and all that stuff. But I am super excited, hopefully, to see Chase Young. If Chase Young does play, he obviously will be on a snap count, which will be something that we'll have to monitor. But I mean, even if he can make 1 or 2 big plays and just his energy, I think that's something that's super underrated with this Washington Commanders team is Chase Young been hurt this whole time, right? But you see Chase Young every week. You see Chase Young
on the sideline. The camera's always on him. He's always hype. Always encouraging his players. He seems like a really good locker room kind of dude.
Yeah, so I'm excited, obviously, for Chase Young and to see him back on the field. But, I mean, a lot of what has to happen in this game has to be the same from last week. I'm hoping that this is our identity moving forward. That is what I've been asking for, and I'm hoping that that's the plan now. I mean, the Texans, we talked about them last week because, the Giants play the Texans. So the same thing applies for Washington. You cannot look past this Texans team, but the door is here for Washington to continue running the ball. Obviously, Texans allowing 81.8 yards on the ground. You have to run the ball. But like you said, that just has to happen. I think we got to continue with the pre-snap motion and that sort of thing. All that has to still be the same. We're going to have to talk about third downs. Washington's offense on third down, even though we were really good last week, we're still bottom of the league, 23rd in third down conversion percentage. Only
21
converting
of them things last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was like 10 or 21 or something like that. Y'all were right around
11
50.
of 21.
11 of 21.
On the season, we're only converting 37.7% on third downs. And a lot of that is because of that 3-4 week stretch. Remember we were 3 for 26 on third downs.
I remember y'all went a whole game without converting a third down until the last minute of the game.
Quarter,
that was awful.
But Houston is 9th worst in the National Football League with third down defense. They're allowing opponents to convert on 42.2% of their third downs. So once again, opportunity here to take advantage of the weaknesses of the opponent, which the Texans have in run defense and in third down defense. Now, Washington, on the other hand, 7th best in the league when it comes to third down defense. We are only allowing our opponents to convert third downs on 34.7% of the time. And Houston Texans, they are pretty bad on third down. They are 30th in the National Football League on third down, only converting 31% of their third downs this season. So this game is going to be run once again in the trenches. As far as the roadmap goes, you already know the first stop on the roadmap, RTDB, run the damn ball. 40 carries, okay? I'm not expecting us to have 49. Let's be realistic. That was
40 is realistic, though, right?
40's realistic.
40.
Oh, yeah. 40's realistic. Because, listen, what did Daniel Jones throw the ball last week? 17 times, right?
Yeah.
How many carries did y'all have? 39, right?
47.
47. There we
Yeah.
See? But that's the recipe. Give me 40 carries. I don't need Heinicke to throw no more than 17, 19 times.
Big shout out to Dominic, too, in the chat, man. He up late, 1 a.m. I see Tudo bringing some attention to him. Big shout out to Tudo and big shout out to Dominic. I see Benny in the building, too. Beige Boy in the building as well.
So that run, the turnovers that we talked about with Taylor Heinicke, one interception at least every game. This should be an opportunity for him. If he wants to take this starting role, the bull by the horns, this is a game you got to show. I mean, that's a great one. I didn't even think about that because, the Texans, the Longhorns.
Yeah. I see you, dog.
So I think that, the turnovers by Taylor Heinicke is something that we have to monitor. Hopefully, this can be his first game of the season with 0 turnovers. And we only had that 1 sack last week. I'd like to finally see some more pressure on Davis Mills. I want to see that sack number get up. And then holding Dameon Pierce under 100 yards, I think, is super important.
Definitely.
Obviously, keeping them out the end zone, definitely. But I think
101 last week against the Giants.
Yeah, I want to get him under that hundo. So under 100 yards for Dameon Pierce. The big thing for me is in a game like this, Washington tends to beat themselves. So penalties to me is going to be a big, important thing. I want to see less than 5 penalties. So no more than 4 penalties. And then third down dominance. I gave you all the third down statistics. You got to dominate on third downs on both sides of the ball. So that's a simple game plan. I'm not asking for too much, Washington. 40 carries, over 200 yards. 0 turnovers from Taylor Heinicke. More sacks. Hold Pierce under 100 yards. Less than 5 penalties and dominate third down. That's the roadmap.
I'm gonna take the under on the 40 carries. I don't think y'all gonna get there. I think this game's gonna be a little bit closer. It's gonna be a little bit closer. The Texans are gonna learn from the way that they lost last week, make a few adjustments. I don't think it'll be enough though. I'll keep it funky with you. I don't think it'll be enough. And before I give you a score prediction, we got a couple super chats here, man. We definitely appreciate y'all.
Big shout out to Fabian for the $2 super chat. Says Beard, it's nice to see you dreaming. Boo Washington, number 4. He loves that Boo Washington.
Yo, Fabian, I need some periods in them sentences, man. Like, Beard, it's nice to see you dreaming, Boo. That's a lot different than nice to see you dreaming. Boo Washington. Shout out to Fabian one time in the building. That's my guy.
Appreciate you, Fabian. Thank you, brother.
Man.
Thank you very much.
And then we had another one, too, here.
RCB Sports and Gaming for the $4.99 super chat says, should be a comfortable win, but I'm worried about a letdown game off the big win, which makes sense, especially on a short week. Ron seems to have them focused, but we should take care of business. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm definitely hoping for that. And I see we got another one from RCB Sports and Gaming. It says Texans can't stop the run. O-line stinks in the pass game. Both our lines should dominate the trenches. Stingley's probably out. I didn't even bring that up. That could be huge. So Terry McLaurin, big game. Hopefully, we don't have any of those quote unquote YOLO balls going anytime soon. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick this game, give you a score. I'm gonna take the Washington Commanders to win this game by a final score of 24-13.
This game is really difficult for me to choose, man. I think that Washington's in a similar spot as the New York Giants are going up against the Detroit Lions. Like on paper, record-wise, looks like we should handle these games. But they're going to be tough, gritty wins, man. Got to rely on the run for both teams here. We're going to get into that with the New York game. Damn, I want to pick the Texans in this game. I mean, because sitting at 1 victory, man, they're clawing trying to get a win. But I think the Commanders are playing too well right now. I think they're kind of starting to find their identity a little bit. Starting to work in Antonio Gibson back into, getting the attempts that he deserves and whatnot. I'm going to go with the Commanders in a super close one. I'm going to go 24-21 Commanders.
All right. I like this. 6-5. Shout out Flem Dog M for the $2 super chat. Says, what up, fellas? Let's get these W's.
Let's do it.
Let's enjoy this situation because we only got a couple more weeks of it.
Yeah. I mean, but you're going to be in the playoffs. We'll just, swap the cap out, get you a blue one. I got some over here you could rock, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll get you a good Giants hoodie, You rock with us, bro. We'll be all right, man. I see Benny had a like a fantasy question or something like that, I think. Oh, nah, he was talking about a Gibson and Sanders on a trade. He just scooped Gibson and Sanders on a trade. I wonder who you traded for them. That's a good move right there. I got Antonio Gibson on my fantasy, man. He's been playing pretty decent. Even with the limited touches, he's still getting me about a good 10 points a game, PPR vibes and whatnot.
Yeah, especially that early touchdown for you last week. You were on the board early.
Oh, I was psyched. I was like, yeah. And he wasn't even getting that many carries early on in the game, man. Yeah, Stan says we all know. He said we all know, Beard. We all know. We all know. Yes, we do. Shout out to Stan in the building, man. Sock Pod said, man. All right, man. So we're going to get into everybody's favorite segment here one time, man. We got a little trivia time popping off here, man. Salute to everybody tuned in, man, rocking with us so far, man. We got about a good, 20 minutes before we got to get up out of here. We can do that. I got a quick roadmap for the New York Giants one time. But let's get this trivia question. Let's show the family in the chat one time what they're going to be winning here for those that don't know while I cue up these jazz flutes one time.
So if you are a New York Giants fan and you win tonight's trivia, you will be winning this Jeremy Shockey autographed card. And it is numbered, ladies and gentlemen, 8 out of 35. So there's only 35 of these autographed Jeremy Shockey cards. So 8 out of 35 on the Jeremy Shockey card. If you're a Giants fan, if you are a Washington Commanders fan.
Oh, you about to grab that helmet? I thought you was going to grab that Terry McLaurin.
Oh, no. I love y'all, but I don't love y'all that much. But yes, you can win this Logan Thomas autographed Virginia Tech mini helmet autographed by Logan Thomas right there.
Nice.
If you're an Eagles or a Dallas Cowboys fan, we got some prizes for you over there as well.
Shout out to Cannon, man. The focus is just snappy. Got him. All right, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all a couple little seconds to get your mind right, get your Twitter fingers and your Google fingers ready to go. Try to figure out this one. This is a tough one. I tested it on the Beard during the little pre-warm-up meeting we had here, and he was struggling. It's gonna look like an easy question, but it's a very difficult one. Definitely NFC East related. And this one is in the pass catcher department. All the nuggets I dropped on Justin Jefferson, you know what I'm saying? We figured we go pass catcher here one time, all right? Let me take a look at the chat one time, make sure y'all good. Shout out to Chris Peace one time, buying time for y'all, literally.
I got a New York Giant hat for Beard. I'm good, guys. I'm good. Okay. I love y'all, but I'm going to stick with the Commanders, okay?
Yeah, Fabian's asking what area in D.C. So I live right on the line. I'm on North Capitol. Right on the line of Northeast and Northwest. The Beard's in Northeast. Both of us came up in Silver Spring, Maryland, so we live and die DMV. Y'all know what it is. But even though I'm from the DMV, I never been a fan of the Skins. Shout out to Big L one time, who was never a fan of the Knicks. He was all about expanding his chips. You mad because he was in the van with your chick with both hands on her? Yeah, go study. 97 freestyle. Best freestyle ever one time. All right, we bought y'all enough time here one time. Somebody already guessed Bill Parcells. I like that. That's what's up. All right. Today's trivia question is, this NFC East pass catcher has the most receptions of any player to ever play in the NFC East division. Get this chat opened up here. Let's see. Let's get these answers rolling in. We'll see who's first. Don't forget, Beard, give them the message that we got to give them to let them know how they're going to win.
It is the first person that we see in our chat, not what you may see in your chat due to different internet lags. So in order to be fair, we have to go with who we see first on our end. Man,
it's ever.
Nice
it's
beat
ever.
Drop.
Most receptions of any player to ever play. Not just this season, if that's not clear for y'all. This is all time. All-time NFC East highest pass catcher ever. Terry McLaurin, I like that. Tyreek Hill. The Beard said, he was like, yo, nobody's going to get this. He said nobody's going to get this. We'll see. They're giving you all enough time to get your little Google fingers out there, man, and try to figure out this question. It's not this season. For y'all that are guessing players this year, it's all time. So cannot be Devonta Smith. all-time NFL receptions in the NFC East. Cool. Jonathan Studios, I like that guess right there. Beard, you see a winner?
I see a winner.
Let's just confirm it one time in the private chat just to make sure I got the same name you got. Ooh, there's some good answers there. And the Beard has submitted his ticket. And yes, okay. And I want to just go to the answers here and just double check. Oh, man, I just want to say that M626M, that's Terrell Owens. That was a really good guess, but that's not it. So the answer for today's trivia is no pass catcher from the NFC East has caught more passes than tight end Jason Witten. He retired with 1,228 receptions. That is fourth on the all-time list behind Jerry Rice, Larry Fitzgerald, Tony Gonzalez. Terrell Owens was number 8. I thought a sneaky answer would have been to go with Chris Carter because he did play for the Philadelphia Eagles at one point in his career, but he is number 6, 2 slots behind Jason Witten. So shout out to Jay Jean one time for getting the answer correct. That's awesome. A day one pretty much here with Jay Jean. And you are going to get that Jeremy Shockey signed card. You said that was 8 out of 38, man. That is awesome right there.
8 out of 35. There's only 35 of these. Yeah.
Jay Jean said, hold up, wait, did I get that? Salute to Jay Jean one time. Jay Jean, reach out to us on Twitter if you can. If you got a Twitter account, I'm at Awthentik. The Beard is at Tim Walk on Water 2. Or you can send an email to Awthentik, the way I spell it, at allornothingstudios.com. We'll make sure to get that shipped out to you as soon as possible. The Beard, man, he's really good on that shipping stuff. We'll definitely get that out to you. Should be at your crib within a week maximum. But salute to you, man, and congratulations, Jay Jean, on winning that signed Jeremy Shockey card. I'm glad that this trivia question was tight end related, too. I like that. That, you get the tight end as far as the card goes, man. Shout out to everybody who tried to guess on that. We saw some hilarious guesses on that. That was amazing one time. We're going to take a baby commercial break one time. And when we come back, we'll break down that Giants game. We got about a good 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll talk about that Thursday night football. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Your wide receiver on IR? Aw, shucks. Your running back keep fumbling every week? Man. Damn it all. Well, come chop it up with your boys. We are waiver wire tight. Awthentik and The Beard. Every Sunday morning, streaming live at 11 a.m.
All right, y'all, let's get right to it. We're going to skip the intros. We low on time here. We're running a 2-minute drill right here. You got Daniel Jones running this show one time. Y'all know what it is, man. The Beard's going to play his best Darius Slayton right here during this New York Giants matchup against the Detroit Lions one time. All right, man, so we're going to get right to it. I got a ton of nuggets for this game. The 7-2 New York Giants are welcoming the Detroit Lions, who are sitting at 3-6. Last week, the Giants beat the Texans 24-16, and the Lions beat the Bears 31-30. That always just sounds crazy. Lions, Tigers, Bears, and the New York Giants one time. The Giants are just one game out of first place in the NFC East. Thank you to the Beard one time. Appreciate you, brother, and your Washington Commanders. After we play the Lions, 5 of the Giants' final 7 games are going to be coming against NFC East opponents. To me, this is a must win right here one time. The Lions have scored 30 or more points in 4 games this season. That's tied for the most in the NFL right now. The Giants haven't scored 30 points the entire year, but the Giants also have not allowed a team to score 30 points on us the entire year as well. But the New York Giants have not scored 30 points in 37 consecutive games. What in the holy hell is going on with the New York Giants in this offense one time? It's the longest active streak in the NFL to date. The Lions are 9th in the league in scoring. They're averaging 24.3 points a game. This is a revenge game for wide receiver Kenny Galladay. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Dear Lord, let Kenny Galladay stunt on these fools one time. Jordan Renan asked Kenny Galladay if the fans booing bothers him. He said, I'm not worried about the fans. I like that kind of answer. A lot of fans thought it was a little chippy, a little attitude coming from Kenny Galladay. He was kind of looking this way. He said, I ain't worried about the fans. I kind of like that. And Renan said, does it bother you? And he just said, nah. Now, I got about 4 or 5 keys to victory for the New York Giants one time. Number one, got to control the clock and get an early lead in this game. Outside of hashtag RTDB, the Giants offense has been scaring me a little bit. Saquon Barkley is coming off of 152 yards on 35 carries. Now, y'all just had 152 yards on 49 carries. Goes to show you what kind of running back we got and what kind of running backs y'all got in Washington one time. Barkley is averaging 25.2 touches per game, and Barkley has carried the ball more than 20 times in 5 of his last 6 games. He leads the NFL in rushing with 931 yards, and he leads in average yards per game with 103.4 per game. We talked about the passing attack on Tuesday. We brought up that Paul Schwartz clip and whatnot. Daniel Jones ranks 22nd in the NFL in attempts, so you can't blame him when you look at some of these passing stats. He's averaging 26.3 attempts per game. The Giants have the 29th ranked pass offense in the NFL, averaging 161 passing yards per game. That just ain't it, man. We're averaging more rushing yards per game than we are passing. In 9 games, the Giants have scored just 3 passing touchdowns total in the first half. So we're definitely a second half team. You know about the one score. Every win has came within 1 score. Giants didn't run 1 passing play in the fourth quarter on Sunday, 14 runs. We got to find a way to maybe get a little bit more balance if the running attack does not kill the Lions in this game. Only 2 teams over the last 50 years have 7 or more wins in their first 9 games while having 1 or fewer wide receivers with 200-plus receiving yards. Giants in 2022, the Bears in 2012. We got to find a way to fix that unless we keep winning games. Listen, I'm a beggar here. Giants been losing a ton of games over the past 5 years. I can't be too choosy. Do what you do. Get me the W. Number 2 on my keys to victory. Absolutely no turnovers in this game. Jones has gone 6 straight games without an interception. He only has 2 interceptions on the year. It's the 3rd straight game for the Giants without a turnover. And the Giants have the 3rd fewest turnovers on offense by any team in the entire league. We only have 8 turnovers on the year. It's crazy to me. Now, number 3 is you got to stop the run early and force Goff to be predictable, okay? DeAndre Swift, since coming back in the lineup, has relatively been a non-factor. In his last 3 games, he has a total of 13 rushes, 22 yards, and 9 receptions. He's got 1 touchdown over those last 3 games. His lone 100 or more yard game came against the Eagles in week 1, where he had 15 carries for 144 yards. Now, we know he's capable, so you got to shut it down early. Force them to go to that pass early. Let our defensive backs kind of just chill back there and make some plays. Hopefully, guys like Dane Belton can make some more interceptions. Julian Love can get us some more interceptions in this game. The Giants haven't had a ton of interceptions this year. And speaking of running for the Detroit Lions, can't forget about Jamal Williams, but he's only gone over 80 yards rushing in his last 5 games 1 time. He also has 100 or more yards rushing in the entire season, only in 1 game this year. The Lions are ranked 11th in the NFL in rushing, which is kind of crazy with the way that their running backs have been running as of late. They're averaging 129.8 yards per game, but they average only 98 in their last 3 games. So if you're wondering why this rushing attack has kind of fell off, it's because of the last 3 games. At home, they're averaging 143 yards per game, but on the road, they're averaging 113 yards per game. That's rushing yards. This game is at MetLife for those of y'all that don't know, so looking like we're going to have a good chance of stopping the run. The secondary is definitely going to be tested. They do have wide receivers out there that can make plays for sure. You know you got St. Brown out there. Josh Reynolds didn't practice this week, but he's been doing, a little bit of damage, I would say, with limited targets on the year. 4th, we got to find a way to be better on special teams. Now, the game where Richie James fumbled the 2 punt returns, I think that the New York Giants kind of panicked a little bit, and they put Adoree Jackson back there, but Adoree Jackson just has 2 yards on 2 attempted returns on the year, and that's not even the biggest worry for me. It's in the punting game for me with the New York Giants. Now, y'all know the Scottish Hammer, Jamin Gillen. He shanked a couple punts last week, okay? He's the punter that was left back there in London, and it's looking like, man, they should have just left his ass back there in London. He's been struggling. He's 31st in the NFL out of 32 punters with 15.7% of his punts going for touchbacks. That's not a good thing for those of y'all that don't know. He's 27th in kicks down inside the 20-yard line at 28.2%. That's not the vibes. So we got to figure out a way to be able to correct these woes that are happening in the special teams, but we know what it is. Got to find a way to RTDB. That might be the theme of Awthentik and The Beard for the rest of the season. The Giants have done a good job running the ball this year. That's why Saquon Barkley is number 1. Josie Zito did not practice this week, And Wan'Dale Robinson is dealing with a hamstring injury as well. Nick Gates has not really played. I don't even think he's played a lot of snaps at all. I don't think he's played any snaps at all on the line, but they have been bringing him in on jumbo packages. I don't know what's going to happen if Ezekiel's not going to be healthy for this game. They haven't talked about him being ruled out or nothing like that, but we're having trouble on this offensive line. And if there is going to be a reason why the New York Giants can't run the ball, that's going to be why. Evan Neal's going to miss a game here. We've been having trouble at the left guard position all year long. Ben Bredesen was on IR. Shane Lemieux started off the year on IR. He's still on IR right now. I don't even know what they're doing with Shane Lemieux. I don't know if he's going to be back for this year or not. We'll see. But somebody's going to have to step up and play this left guard position, high caliber, to be able to run the rock. We'll see what the New York Giants do. Before I pick my score, I'm going to toss this one over to you. We got about 10 minutes left in the 2-minute drill before we got to get to that last game. But I'm feeling good about my New York Giants.
All right. So I have been talking about the New York Giants and their red zone offensive struggles. But believe it or not, they've actually been climbing up the ranks a little bit on their red zone rankings, which is very important.
100% last week, I believe, right?
Yep, I believe so. I think so. Yeah, and then that red zone defense was, they held Houston 1-6.
We don't got to talk about that, though.
The Detroit Lions have the 7th worst red zone defense in the National Football League. They are allowing opponents 63.6% in the red zone. So this is an opportunity for the New York Giants to definitely take advantage of a bad red zone defense and continue to improve those offensive numbers for the New York Giants. Currently, the New York Giants are sitting at 18th in red zone offense. They are converting on 53.8% of their red zone attempts.
It's not too bad.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. You guys are kind of, making a little push up there.
50, I'm like, it's not too bad.
Not too bad at all. And then obviously, this is a big game for the third down. New York Giants on third down. Once again, I like to always try and look at the opponent's weaknesses, and that's where you have to attack. Detroit, I almost said Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers, the Lions. The Detroit Lions have the absolute worst third down defense in the National Football League. So worst third down defense in the National Football League, that presents a good opportunity for the New York Giants.
Jones out here like,
there you go.
Third down,
there you go. And then obviously you got to keep your eye on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god. You do not want him to bring the sun to MetLife, okay? Because once he gets going, he becomes a problem. But because of not having Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift obviously still banged up. Amon-Ra St. Brown is their big weapon. So he's definitely somebody that you're going to have to keep your eye on in this game. And then once again, New York Giants have to continue their excellent red zone defense because the Lions, they will go for it on fourth down in the red zone all the time. So that puts a little bit of pressure on you defensively in the red zone. So the New York Giants, though, that red zone defense I've been talking about, they are the second best red zone defense in the National Football League. The New York Giants only allow opponents 38.2% conversion rate in the red zone. So shout out to the New York Giants, and they have the second best red zone defense. All that being said, I thought about taking the Lions. I'm not going to lie. Don't want you guys to hate me. I thought about taking the Lions, but I'm going to go with the New York Giants. I'm going to take the New York Giants to win this football game by a final score of 21-20.
20 from the Lions. I think the
They
Lions
go
get to
for
that
two.
24.
They go for two, and they'd miss it
at the end of the game.
at the end of the game.
All right, that'll be a crazy prediction right there if that goes down. I'm going to say the Lions score 24 in this game. And I think it's going to be pretty tight. I do think it's going to be pretty tight. The Giants are going to be forced to control the clock and score every time they get down to that red zone. I'm glad you brought up some of those red zone and third down statistics. That's kind of leaning me a little bit more into the New York Giants scoring a couple of points. I'm going to go ahead and say it, man. What is it, 37 straight games the Giants haven't scored over 30?
That's crazy.
They're going to get over 30. They're going to get over 30 in this game. I'm going to go. That 31 is.
Do we get to say book it? Book it.
Book it, man. I don't want to go with the 31. 31 been so predictable. So I'm going to ramp it up even a little bit
35.
more. I'm going to go 34-24 New York Giants.
There we go. That sounds like a fun football game to me.
I like it. That should be a fun football game. Yeah. I would love to see us put up some big numbers like that. And for us to get to 34, Saquon Barkley is going to definitely have to have a day, man. But we got about a couple minutes here, man. It looks like kickoff is going to be for this Thursday night football game here in just a couple of seconds. So let's go ahead and get to this Titans at Packers one time. All right, man. So the Titans are headed to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers one time. The Packers are now at 4-6, man. And I saw Colin Cowherd was breaking down the rest of their schedule, man. They got some tough matchups. I think they got the Eagles one game, and then there's another tough matchup there too. So this is a must-win for them. They definitely got to find a way to beat the Titans here, man. You know, and I've been looking at the Titans the past couple of years, man. Like, why are they so always at the top of the AFC? You know, I think it's that division that they play in, man. That division is not
coaching too.
Coaching, oh yeah, Vrabel's definitely a great
but that
coach.
Division definitely is always up and down, and
always up
generally and down. The Texans and the Jaguars, particularly over the last 3 to 4 years, have been bottom 5 teams in the National Football League.
Yeah, I think that's a major reason why the Titans kind of are, I wouldn't say overhyped, but the reason why their victories are a little bit higher than I think they could be. But the Titans won last week against the Denver Broncos, 17-10. The Packers won against the Dallas Cowboys. Thank the football gods. One time they beat them in overtime, 31-28. The last meeting between these two teams, the Packers beat the Titans 40-14 in 2020. I was like, golly. But check this now. I got a couple nuggets for the Titans here. The Titans have won 6 of their past 7 games. The Titans have an NFL best 16 sacks over the past 4 games. So it's not for the whole entire season, just over the past 4 games. The Titans have 3 or more sacks in 6 straight games. It's the franchise's longest streak since 1979. That's a long time ago. I wasn't even born even in this earth yet. Wasn't even swimming in my daddy's nuts one time. The Titans are holding opponents to 27.9% conversions on third down to lead the league in that category. You like to talk about third down defense a lot. And Tannehill, man. Tannehill, he's got 37 total wins, including the playoffs. That's the most by any quarterback in his first 4 seasons in franchise history. So Tannehill is a winner. We know Jimmy G's a winner, but Tannehill's definitely a winner. Tannehill came back from missing 2 games with a sprained right ankle to throw for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. And a lot of that was due in part because Derrick Henry had one of his worst games last week against the Broncos. He had 53 yards on 19 carries versus the Broncos. It snapped a 5-game streak of 5 straight games with 100 or more yards for Derrick Henry. Henry is first in the NFL in attempts this year, too. He's already breached 200. Saquon Barkley is just behind him. And he's second in rushing with 923 yards on the season. Now, you got to keep your eyes on Christian Watson when it comes to the Green Bay Packers offense. And you know how I know that? The Beard told me last week on a parlay that Christian Watson was going to get 100 yards and at least 1 touchdown, and that's exactly what he did. He's coming off his best game of the year, 4 receptions, 107 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns. I mean, so, dog, you got 4 receptions, 3 of them touchdowns. Can you imagine the kind of sleep Christian Watson got that night? But Tannehill, man, I definitely think he's going to be a problem. Tannehill is kind of reminding me of Daniel Jones. A lot of people made that comparison to those 2 quarterbacks when Daniel Jones came into the league. But Tannehill on the year, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's played in 2 less games than Daniel Jones, though. But he's doing a good job of game managing and really not making the mistakes that's costing his team games, man. So I do think that this game and y'all game against the Texans, the 2 more difficult ones for me to choose, man. The Titans are a good team. They're no slouch, man. You know, I just told y'all they won 6 of their last 7 games. I know the Giants beat them opening day. Giants beat both these teams. Shout out to the Giants one time.
We should have beat both of these teams.
I was going to say, y'all can't say that. I'm going to go. I'll let you go, and then I'll pick my score as you go.
Well, just briefly for me, the Packers, one of the main reasons why the pass game was so successful last week was because they finally decided to run the damn ball, RTDB. Yep. Aaron Jones had a fantastic game last week. Problem is, Tennessee's run defense is phenomenal. Do you know how many yards a game Tennessee allows on the ground? They're only allowing 85.1 yards per game on the ground. I don't know if it's number 1. I think it's top 5 for sure, I'd imagine. Yeah. But I mean, when I see under 100, wow. When I see under 100, I'm like, I don't even need to throw out a ranking with it. I'm pretty sure people understand the significance of holding teams under 100 yards.
Number 2 in the NFL.
Number 2. Yep. Yeah. So that right there is going to be difficult for the Green Bay Packers. But I think the main thing with Packers is do not give up on the run early. Try to establish the run. You have 2 running backs, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones. Utilize both of those guys. This might be an A.J. Dillon sort of night because A.J. Dillon's kind of that and you might need some of those against a really good run defense like the Tennessee Titans. This game's in Lambeau. It's at night. I don't know, man. Football guys might come back again to strike.
I feel you.
I like this matchup, but I think I'm gonna big shout out Will. I see you, Wilson, in the building.
Football as well, brother. I heard Wilson's dropping a new album soon too, man. Congratulations on that, brother.
Congratulations, Wilson. Listen, I'm gonna go Green Bay Packers. I just think that there's that game last week against the Dallas Cowboys might have sparked some things, and we'll see. And we'll see probably early and often in this game how much of an impact that win has had on the Green Bay Packers, not just tonight, but moving forward the rest of the season. So I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers in a close one. I'm going to go 23-20.
23-20. I like that. And I think you brought up some good points about the running game from the Green Bay Packers. If they can find some success running the ball, which I think they will be able to, especially off that game that Christian Watson had last week, safety's going to show him some respect tonight for sure. I'm going with the Packers as well, man. I think that Aaron Jones will get it going early. I'm going to take the Packers. I think it'll be a little bit higher scoring than what you said there. I'm going to take the Packers 30-28 in this one.
All right. We're pretty much in agreement on a lot of these games this week.
Yeah, except I think it was just
Minnesota,
one I picked,
Dallas?
right? Minnesota, Dallas. I picked the Cowboys, yep. I just hope I'm let down, to be honest. Minnesota, do your thing. Do your thing. Take care of it.
We still got the parlay. If you guys don't know, we are live Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Awthentik and The Beard for the parlay, your last-minute fantasy football advice live, as well as everybody's favorite section, the rapid fire, as we pick each and every single NFL game against the spread and over and unders. My man, Maryland sports betting. About ready to be here.
Yeah, I was talking to Patrick about that today, man. They're doing like a trial run, they said.
Oh, first. Dude, every well, I don't know about a trial run, but I know that every single app is basically giving away free money for their first bets. So you're gonna get like $100, $200.
Before it goes into full effect, they're doing a trial day of it first. So Maryland people will be able to make bets that day. When I'll ask Patrick, he was telling me about it, and I'll get you that date so you can put some bets in for sure. Ooh,
yeah, it's gonna be right around Thanksgiving.
It's a good idea, James Funk. I definitely like that right there.
He also said we need character. I can always never say this. Caricature shirts of us.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea too.
All right, here we go,
man.
Let's
close it out, man. Y'all got Thursday night football. Enjoy your week, man. We'll be back here on Sunday for the parlay, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can adjust some fantasy lineups. I told y'all I'm gonna be taking on the Beards team this week. That's going to be a great matchup, man. I can't wait. And it's a must-win for my squad one time. What was my team's name was Saquon Bon Jovi? Saquon Bon Jovi or something like that.
That was one of the best names of all time.
Solid name right there, man. I hope we get that dub against the Beard one time. You had the young and the sweatless.
The young and the sweatless.
Yeah, I'll give you a 6.5 IMDb score on that joint one time. I thought it was all right. But shout out to the whole gang, man, for sticking around, rocking with us before this Thursday night football, man. Another episode in the books, Awthentik and The Beard, hashtag AATB. Chop it up with us on Twitter during the game. You know, me and The Beard are always on Twitter actively on Thursday night football. Definitely, again, appreciate all y'all pulling up. Don't forget, Sunday morning, then we'll have the Giant Overreaction on Monday. We got a bunch of content coming up this week, too. We're going to try to keep cranking it out, man, right before Thanksgiving happens here, man. We'll be taking on those Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. It's going to be a good one. Definitely always end the show with this vibe right here one time. Y'all keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, especially in these trying times, man, right before the holidays, man. And shout out to the podcast GOAT Combat Jack one time. Y'all know the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound, man. Y'all be good. Enjoy tonight's game. Hey, pray for as many NFC East losses as you can outside of our two teams. Y'all know what it is, man. Awthentik and The Beard, left side.
Strong side.
All right, man. Y'all be good. Enjoy tonight's football. Peace.